I consider myself as a very lazy person, yet I was able to make a video game in exactly 90 days. How is this possible? You see, there's one principle that you can apply to almost any part of your life, and it'll feel like magic, but it instantaneously makes you more productive. What is it? Let me give you this example first. Let's say you have to go to work, you have to be at the office and everything, and you wake up and you realize, bro, my alarm clock did not wake me up. That means you have about 20 minutes, give or take, to actually get to the office on time. So you probably run out the door, grab a piece of bread, change your clothing really quickly, drive safely, and you're probably 5 minutes late, but you make it to the office. Okay, let me give you this opposite example. Let's say that, you wake up an hour early before your alarm clock wakes you up. Yeah, you could go back to bed, but let's say you use this time to take a shower, you cook a really nice healthy breakfast, you're probably, doom scrolling for a bit, just normal things that you do in the day, and then you actually get to the office, and you're on time. What is the main difference between these two examples? It's not the fact that, one has more time and one has less time, it's the fact that you both have to get to the job, you have to get to the office. Because if you don't do that, you get fired. You have consequences. There's other issues that rise up when you are unable to get there on time. As game developers, this is something that we need to do. And this is what we call Parkinson's law, which is, there's a bunch of definitions for it. It's the time allocated use that correlates to an effort. But what I'm just trying to say is if I gave you 20 minutes to go to work, you will put all those 20 minutes gracefully, towards that effort to make sure that you get to work on time. Now, if I gave you 2 hours, well, you have a lot of more time, but you're probably going to put the same amount of effort to actually get to the office at that point. So, and if you don't, you get fired, right? So when we put this in the context of game development, we need to put deadlines. The thing about a deadline is saying, hey, I'm going to actively and proactively put my effort and time and energy onto making sure that I make it to the goal. And it's so easy to do that and realize, wait a minute, what happens if I don't make it? Well, you make more progress. You get closer to where you wanted to be at the beginning, and hey, it works, right? But the second part of this is following that metaphor of, getting to your job on time, is making sure you don't get fired. And what I mean by this is it's easy to say, oh, I'll try to make it on time, this and that, versus, oh, I will make it on time. If you make a deadline, it's one thing to say it and say, yeah, in 3 months I'm going to make a game. Okay. But if you respect the deadline, that's the key here. If you respect the deadline that you set, that's where you're going to see all the fruition of your work. Because that means in order to respect the deadline to its utmost degree, you need to learn how to prioritize what tasks come first, what are pieces of content you can cut, what are distractions that you don't need in your personal life that are getting in your way of your free time, what are the things you have to do as a technical developer to, get the best version of your game out as quickly as possible. Also in your personal life, just making sure that you have, again, enough time to do everything else. This is where you need to learn how to become accountable, responsible, just someone of integrity is what I typically say. And what this means is if you put your actions where your words are, well, you become a person of integrity, and you can apply this when you're making deadlines. It's so easy to make a game passively, right, without an actual deadline because it's fun, or maybe you just like iterating a lot, and that's part of the process. One could absolutely say that. But the moment you say, hey, I want this game to be done in a year, in 6 months, in 90 days, I want to do a game jam and finish it in a week, maybe a weekend. In order to actually finish that goal, you have to respect the goal. Anyone can say anything, but are you willing to put the effort to actually make that happen? And so it doesn't matter if you're lazy, it doesn't matter if you're active, doesn't matter if you have a lot of time, a little bit of time. It's step 1, put the goal, and step 2, follow the goal. Follow it to the highest possible degree out there. Because going back to the metaphor, if you never came to your job on time, if you were constantly late, you would get fired. It wouldn't matter. You wouldn't want that to happen, right? So you would actively make sure, okay, what are the things I have to do as a worker to make it on time? Well, in my personal life, let me, prepare a meal in the morning. Let me get some rest at the proper time. Let me go to bed on time, right? There's personal choices we make, right? Okay. But as a worker, you want to be professional. You want to get there on time. You want to make sure that you're never late. You want to make sure that, hey, if I got late, there was an accident, whatever. But you want to minimize these consequences. Apply the same principle to your game development. Put a deadline. Respect it. Use Parkinson's law to your advantage. You will see results.